Hello viewers, welcome once again, and it is very nice having you. And today I'll be talking on sport and the classifications of sport. Now, talking about sport, I'm very sure that when you hear the term sport, a lot of sporting activities come to your mind, such as football, basketball, cricket, swimming, etc. But what does sport truly mean? To define or give a definition of sport, we have to consider the following characteristics. And one of the characteristics that we must consider is that sports is a form of physical activity. What this is trying to tell us is that sporting activities are activities that we do making use of our physical body. And another characteristic we must consider is that it involves skill and physical exertion. That is physical impact and also skill. As some of us may know that a skill is a performance that require accuracy of direction, timing, rhythm, and force, which are very purposeful in order to achieve a predetermined goal. Another characteristic we must consider defining sport is that sport can be performed either double or as a team. An example where we have football, a team game. We have lawn tennis as a dual game, and also we have single games such as sprint race. And also another characteristic we must consider is that sport is guided by by a set of rules. That this is not just an activity you engage in by doing anyhow, and that is the reason why you see whenever a player or an opponent wolf tackle his or her opponent, he or she will be shown a red or yellow card. And also it has a recorded history. Each sporting activity or each sport has a pre-recorded history. Football has a pre-recorded history. Basketball has a pre-recorded history. And another characteristic is that it has a governing body. Yes, each sporting activity has a governing body. Football has a governing body, which is FIFA, and also basketball has a governing body, which is NBA. And the last characteristic we must also consider is that more often than not competitive. Sporting activities are more often than not competitive. What this is trying to tell us is that not as in sport, most sports are competitive, but not all sports are competitive. Yes, competitive sport. This is the type of sport where you see PSG playing Man U, Barcelona playing Chelsea, etc. Now, moving to the classifications of sport. What are the classifications of sport that we have? We have various classification of sport based on one or two things. Now, number one classification of sport is based on energy demanded or duration. This is where we have aerobic sports and we have anaerobic sport. Example of aerobic sports. Aerobic sport. These are sports that are actually done that are done requiring oxygen, and anaerobic. These are type of sport that are done that does not require oxygen, that are not done under or in the presence of oxygen. Example of aerobic which are done in the presence of oxygen. We have marathon race. We have football. We have basketball, etc. An example of the type of sport that are not done or does not require the use of oxygen. This is where we have sprint race, we have weightlifting, etc. And another classification is based on the number of players. Yes, which can be single, which can be double, which can be team. Example of team sports, we have basketball, we have football. Example of single sports, we have sprint race, marathon race. Example of double sport, this is where we have table tennis, lawn tennis, etc. And another classification is classification based on equipment use. We have racket sport, we have ball sport. Example of racket sport, this is where we have table tennis, this is where we have lawn tennis, this is where we have squash, you understand. And also example of ball sport, this is where we have basketball, we have handball, we have volleyball, we have football, etc. And the last classification is classification based on medium of propagation. That is, this is where we have water sports and also we have terrestrial sports. Terrestrial sports are sports that are done on land. Example, this is where we have handball, this is where we have basketball, this is where we have volleyball, this is where we have sprint race, as in athletics, you understand. So these are sports that are done terrestrial, and water sport, that is aquatic sport. And one of the best example of water sport is swimming. So This is how far we'll be able to go today. Thank you very much once again, and please do not forget to share and subscribe. Join me as I bring to you another new content next time. Thank you very much.